Aloha everyone. Day 3. My god, the days are flying by. Welcome to my third day at New Eden. And today we had enjoyed the first light of sun with the same woodland greeting that we had yesterday. I brought back a friend with me today. So I know all of you fungophiles are thinking, what is that? But if you look there, you can see what it is, or at least what it probably is. It's some sort of a sep, I suppose. I can hear my friend Sinead saying now. But whether or not it's edible didn't turn blue now. I've walked back about half an hour with this thing. And it wasn't even me searching. It was just taking the normal walk and going a bit further along by the canalways, or whatever the right word for those are. And then a really big one catching my eye that had fallen over. It was gigantic. It was bigger than my head, I'd say. And it had flopped over. And yeah, that was what got my eye at first. And when I investigated, I thought, it's not an edible one, surely to God. But when I saw the bottom of it, I thought, well, look, this is on its way out anyway. It's just going to rot down to the ground now. So I'm like the cat at all of these retreats, always bringing in the foraged greens and weeds to the cooks and saying, would you like to put some of this in the dinner or the lunch? That's what I am. So this morning, I'm sure hundreds of thousands of interesting insights and observations and noticings. But for me personally, the most interesting one was walking at a distance. Like I said, it's kind of a walk run, because I start out running and then sure we go as far as we can, and me not being a runner as such, just eventually end up walking for most of it. But then I start running again, and I run for as far as I can, and then I walk again when I can't go any further. And so it goes for the whole of I don't know what time it is. It must be 2 hours or so. It's 8:48 now. Sugar, we're starting in a little bit. So I've been out since 7, I suppose. Got up later today. And it does seem like the slightest little noise in our bedroom, and I'm up. So, but it's not like you disturbed me up. It's just like I'm up, and I realize, yeah, it's the slightest little noise that got me. And my roommate Sandra, it's really nice way to wake up, I suppose, as good as any. But anyway, as I was saying, walking along the way, and I was brave today. Didn't wear my hoodie, which is the one warm piece of clothing I brought with me. Just sick and tired of going on these week-longs and feeling like I've packed too much. And I'm sure I'm not the worst, but just for me, it feels like I'm carrying a coat or I'm wearing a heavy coat like this. Well, I had to, because apparently the weather here in Friesland is not that different from East Clare at the moment when I left anyway. And so I decided, okay, I'm just going to bring one warm piece of clothing, and that's going to be the hoodie. Look at me all grounding and stuff. Birds approve. Thank you, birds. And oh yeah, this guy was sighted at the bottom of some massive tall oak trees. A whole grove of them. Really lovely. And I was running under lime tree leaved avenues as well today, which my friend Adriana loves. The lime tree, coming from Eastern Europe. There's a huge lexicon of folklore and mythology and legend around the lime tree. Tilia cordata, for ye ones that don't speak English and don't know which one the lime tree is. Tilia, I think Lindenblume or is another name for it. Anyway, yeah, the fragrance of these lime trees as I ran this morning was just intoxicating, just really beautiful and subtle, and you could miss it if you don't notice it, obviously. So as I was just walking around, and I realized when I walk now, my pace is really slow. And I noticed a big old JCB or some digger or something humongous across the road. And now these roads are beautiful. They're like red brick lined, and not just like a uniform red brick, but then there's diagonal different paving stones, and then yet another different colored paving stone and design and direction. So my feet are loving, or my eyes are loving, the sense of fun and colorful texture and line and shape play beneath our feet here in the Netherlands. Yeah, okay, aside, guess who was a visual artist a long time ago? Yeah, but you don't have to be an old artist to enjoy just, yeah, variety, I suppose, and novelty and something different from home, right? So I was looking at this JCB or this stuff, and just as you do, you wonder, like, what's going on there? I wonder what they're doing. And I noticed that there were humans, and there were young, fit men, quite tall and fit from across the road. I was across the canal from them. And to be honest, if they weren't there, my curiosity would have been, I'll cross just across, and see what's on the other side. But because I'm funny like that, I won't go like where there are other humans generally in that way. Well, anyway, this morning it was like that. And then not only one, but shock horror, there were three of these kind of fair-haired, really fit. And from a distance, my eyes aren't what they used to be, but quite good looking because their jawline and the bone structure, I could tell from a distance, was harmonious to the blurry eye even. I don't know how blurry my eyes were, but, and all three of them were just trained on me, and I thought, okay. So as you do, as I continued walking and just gave them a friendly salute, and all three of them were like this and smiling. Interesting, isn't it? As you get older, young'uns, you may not have as sharp eyesight, or probably ear sight and everything else possibly, as when you were younger. Although the nose, I suppose I've always had a gifted nose for scent and fragrance, to my curse sometimes as well when I smell too much, when I can smell other things too much. But you pick up the energetics, I suppose, of a thing, and the energetics of that friendly wave was just so sweet, and for a female, it was just so delicious, just like, friendly wave with, there's a certain thing, I suppose, three young men in their high-vis vests, working together, and that was the high point for me. I don't know if it's a high point now that I'm verbalizing it out loud, but I know that it was, because it's unique for me nowadays, living in the country as I am, and as everybody knows me as, being old granny, even though I'm not a granny, but, being of the vintage that I could be a granny, it does feel like people don't see you anymore. They just know you as per what they categorize you as, and me included, and that's why I consciously, when I meet people, and even old friends, or young friends for that matter, you know what I mean, I don't ask their age, and I generally am not in the habit of asking, where are you from? Meaning, like, what's your origin? I feel, and yes, I think it's a symptom of this era. I think in 100 years from now, people would think that's crazy and silly and closed-minded and fearful. But yeah, I am a child of this generation, and as a kickback to this constant scrabbing of trying to consume information so that I can have it and do with it, I know this sounds crazy if you just engage in small talk, but sure, that's the way I'm wired at the moment. And so I generally don't ask things like, how old are you? Or, where are you from? And I know some people will be triggered by those things. It's not so much as, I've probably said this in some other old video, but in case you're new here, God, I sound like all those other YouTubers out there. See what you've made me do? Yeah, in case you haven't heard it for a while or ever, I notice in myself, if I ask somebody what their age is, and whatever number they tell me, my mind is going to have a precondition of what that looks like or feels like or has been to me in the past, and it's not even necessarily at all a negative thing, but I seem to be on a years-long experiment with myself, using others as unknowing accomplices in this. Yeah, and so I don't ask so that I can have an open mind about all aspects of that person anyway. Sure, that leaves me free to judge every other thing, but, at least with those numbery type things, I can leave those out. So today I have this. I'm going to go into the cook and give it to her. It was nearly 9 a.m. now. I'm going to go in and even try to get some breakfast. I don't usually eat breakfast at these things, but for some reason I feel attracted to... I think since I've been away, since the Dark Eros, coming home, which was in May, the last time I was assisting at a retreat, I have been... and I was not, as a rule, having breakfast there either, as per usual. But yeah, I've noticed I've both improved in my connection with, if there is a comfort eating or disordered eating element in my life, then I've been more in connection with it, and also allowing it to run its course. Hey, that's probably Klaus or Pierre or somebody. I don't know why I'm doing all this name dropping today, just feeling like I'm getting maybe familiar. Another thing I'm noticing, if you have seen that first day one at New Eden video of 35 minutes, then yeah, this has colored my experience. This feeling of not really being personally, connected with the leader, even though in our other contexts we I don't know, I felt like we were a lot more warmer and closer, and it must be my imagination, or maybe it's not. Whatever it is, that has, of course, colored my experience here. But walking with that and just seeing all the other things, met somebody over lunch yesterday, and we were talking about being vegan as I am, and being raw vegan as I was for a long time, and fasting and all the rest, and traveling, and she spoke about how her English was bad, and then something she said, I just thought, you must have been with Christian as well, and and then so day 2 yesterday, I kind of let that drop, and she kind of giggled, and she didn't quite say it out, but then I said, "What? So were you?" This is with other people, and yeah, she said, and then she shared their story, which was really beautiful. And on my walk this morning, just reflecting on our leader as a man, and thinking, well, sure, like, you have the energy, the charisma, the intelligence, the inquisitiveness, and to whatever level my own development and healing can receive, a sincerity as to, like, yeah, beautiful woman that's also intelligent, that's also very open to relating in a different way than per usual. I like to say most women are. It's just maybe men would say it's 50-50 or less of women that would be genuinely open to breaking the paradigm that is like man gossiping and man blaming and this kind of like post-feminist hangover thing. And yet I feel like, being a woman, I feel like every woman, as I'm sure a man will say every man, they have their point of view, where they're coming from, and their story. It's not an excuse, but it's just the way it is. And so they may present like they're just closed and bitter or armored up against truly seeing, men or their brothers or potential lovers. But I feel like, yeah, every woman is. Watch me as I make a sweeping generalization now. Yeah, basically we're all just like, children of nature, just wanting to be loved and wanting to love another, feeling seen, feeling respected, feeling heard, feeling cared about, being interested in. And that's all there is to it. And all of us have been, to greater or lesser degree, damaged by the simple act of saying I love you from the heart, including me. So in whatever degree that takes, God, I should write a book about that. Yeah, just being able to say those 3 little words has been influenced by the many layers of little t and big T trauma. So even that alone, goes a long way. I used to always joke, not joke, to my brothers and men friends and say, look, whenever they would come with dysregulation from their women, give her a hug from your heart that you can like shut her up. Tell her you love her and tell her that she's beautiful. And I know that's simplistic, and I can hear you women and sisters kind of like saying, oh, shut the fuck up, Penelope. But for me, anyway, those are the simple things that I want. Just want to be accepted for who I am in all of my desperation and frustration and incoherence and fragmentation. Isn't language great? Well, I don't know. But I better go now before I miss breakfast altogether. And yeah, day 3. Is it Tuesday or... No, it's Wednesday. Wednesday. So we'll see you on the other side. Have a fantastic Wednesday. And I'm really grateful for these lighter experiences this morning. And looking forward to... Had a freaking massive bellyache, literally, yesterday. For a lot of yesterday. Really got my attention. And thanks be to God, it just lifted. My brother Andrew was facilitating. Because, you know, the crack... Here, this week, GLE, Group Leadership Experience, is that a few people have got hot seat tickets, which mean they get to lead the group with our leader, Christian, at their side or sitting across from them, as they prefer. So it was really juicy, really beautiful. And the 2 people that went yesterday happened to be a man and woman that are from my field training as well. So... my shiv, well done, Vanessa and Andrew. Nourished a lot from that. Really so grateful for my bed. And I noticed as I made my bed this morning how, I returned to it. Okay, fair enough. I was in so much pain. I couldn't go on after lunch. And even lunch, I felt like, I just won't eat it and have a nap. But I just went. This is me proving what I was just saying earlier. I'm in this disordered eating dynamic. This dance has intensified. And I always tell myself, look, we're transforming this thing, so embrace it rather than fight against it, you know. So that's the attitude I'm taking. I'm transforming. That's why I'm going through this. I mean, that's what I freaking told myself yesterday as I was experiencing this abdominal pain. I was kind of worried. I thought, well, who knows? Maybe I'm having a fallopian tube pregnancy. Well, probably not, being celibate for the past couple of years, but, you know, some abdominal explosion in there. Who knows? And I'm just like willing it away. Or, no, I was breathing through it. I was feeling it. And I swear to God, it felt like labor pains. And I thought, it was really interesting as I was trying to breathe through it and all my little tricks. And it was just like, wow, this is really interesting. What is it that makes this like labor pain? It's not like my cervix is dilating. Well, for all I know, it could have been. But it was just this cramping, I suppose. Anyway, cured myself with a very hot cup of tea because I wanted a hot water bottle against it and my will. And slightly FOMO, just feeling like, well, I really want to support Andrew. He's my musical brother in the field as well. So just really wanted to I thought, fuck it, just you know, what's the word? You know, soldier on through the thing and see where it takes you. If I'm really in pain, then I can crawl back to bed. But during the thing, my freaking, it lifted. I felt it near the end. I felt like, thing is gone. But I daren't make any outer gesture towards acknowledging it. And then, by the time dinner rolled in, it really was. I was able to eat dinner. It took a bit less than usual on these things. I'm usually at the last couple of retreats was good. I just knew the food is so good here. I would be tempted to take seconds. Just take first. Just take a small portion of first. That's all I need right now. So anyway, you're getting all this extra stuff. And again, a very long morning check-in from me. Special Penelope. Mograhu. I love you and have a fantastic Wednesday.